right, welcome aboard. Greetings, friends. You're tuned into The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we are your go-to resource for all health and nutrition information. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program, please head to brightsideben.com or criticalhealthnews.com or pharmacistben.com. You can order products right off the website and find out for yourself what so many people, thousands, tens of thousands of people, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people have discovered over the last 18 years. The BTT rocks. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine is an amazing, amazing nutritional supplement. Get yourself on the Healthy Start Pack. Experience the longevity products for yourself. At least start with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You could find out all about it at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And if you're interested in purchasing any of my Truth Treatment products, go to truthtreatments.com. All right, so we're talking hormone health. Hormones are the messengers. They're the emissaries from the brain. Our whole world is interpreted to the inside of our body via the action of the hormones. It makes them really, really important. There's two kinds. You got water hormones and fatty hormones. The fatty hormones are also known as the steroid hormones. The fatty hormones are your stress management hormones and your growth and repair hormones and your fertility hormones. Biochemists and most people will call the fatty hormones your steroid hormones. These are all types of cholesterol, and I call them your cholesterol hormones. I think that's important to recognize that estrogen and testosterone and bile salts and, hey, Trevor, bro, be quiet over there. Let's see, where was I here? Progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, vitamin D for that matter. You know, vitamin D is a cholesterol hormone. Bile is a cholesterol substance. Bile is a type of cholesterol. That makes cholesterol, eating it or making it, very important for digestive health. Cholesterol is ridiculously important. If this program is remembered for anything, and if I'm remembered for anything, I want it to be for making it clear that cholesterol is your best friend, and anybody who tells you that you need to poison your cholesterol manufacturing system is not very biochemically savvy. That's what I want to be on my tombstone. That Ben Fuchs, Pharmacist Ben, spread the word about how vital and important cholesterol is and how unfairly maligned the molecule is. I don't mean unfairly to the molecule. I mean unfairly to us. It is maligned at our peril. The fact that we think we have to take a drug to suppress our cholesterol just shows how bamboozled we are by people who know nothing about biochemistry, at least in this case, know nothing about biochemistry. Or worse, who are exploiting the ignorance that we have about biochemistry. Anyway, cholesterol is our best friend, our best biochemical friend. Yes, I'm going to go out on a limb. There's a lot of good biochemicals in the body. There's a lot of important biochemicals in the body. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's none more important than cholesterol. The fact that the steroid hormones are all types of cholesterol and require essential fatty acids for their production makes eating fat really important. Not processed fat, not trans fat, not hydrogenated fat, but quality fats from butter and avocados and nuts And even grains, for that matter, have quality fats in them if they're not over-processed or if they're not processed. Grains actually are pretty darn good foods when it comes down to it, except for one problem. They got things in them that make them anti-nutritional. Gluten in particular, and gluten-like substances, but others as well. But other than that, grains are great sources of the B vitamins, great sources of protein, great sources of zinc, and great sources of fats. They're pretty much the major source of omega-6 essential fats. So making sure that we're eating enough fat and making sure that we're absorbing our fat. It's not just eating fat. And by the way, I'm not saying that grains are necessarily something you want to eat. I'm just saying from a chemistry standpoint, they've got wonderful nutritional value. Unfortunately, you got to be careful with them. Now, it's not just eating fats as important as it is to eat avocados and get your fish oil or fish and grains, etc., nuts. But you got to absorb your fats too. And absorbing your fats means you got to have a healthy liver. It means you got to have a healthy intestine. If you got Crohn's disease, celiac disease, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if you're bloated, you feel bloated after you eat certain foods, if you feel bloated after sugary foods or starchy foods, chances are pretty good you're not going to be absorbing your fats. If you've had your gallbladder taken out, chances are really good you're not going to be absorbing your fats. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why people are still doing this barbaric surgical procedure. Unless you have a miserable emergency, obviously then you got to do what you got to do. But other than that, man, your gallbladder is so darn important. So anyway, you got to not just take your fats, you got to make sure you're eating your fats. And this is all to maximize the action of progesterone and estrogen and testosterone and your youth and fertility hormones. If you're aging rapidly, focus on fats. If your skin is thinning, focus on fats. If your bones are thinning, focus on fats. All of these health challenges, breakdowns, if you will, are associated with either a lack of fats or lack of fat absorption via this hormone connection. Supplement with your EFAs. I'm telling you, if you want to pick one, aside from the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, if you want to pick one multifunctional supplement, I can't think of one that would be more important than the essential fatty acids. Yeah, the enzymes, ultimate enzymes are multifunctional. The biolumin nightly essence and the Fucoid Z are multifunctional, but EFAs are essential. That means you can't live without them, and they're incredibly multifunctional. If you had to pick one supplement to take, in addition to one essential nutrient to take, in addition to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, I would be using essential fatty acids and your ultimate EFAs or your EFA pluses. And you can't take too many of them, by the way. 9 a day is a good starting point. You could take 18 a day easily. And use your ultimate EFAs with foods. Take your ultimate EFAs with some food, because you got to maximize absorption, and there has to be some digestive juices percolating in there, bile particularly. So take your EFAs with foods, especially fatty foods. All right, I'll tell you about some of the signs of EFA deficiency that you didn't know were signs of EFA deficiency when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. Got lines open for you at 844-236-6010. We'll get to your calls here in our next segment. If you're interested in purchasing any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program, please head over to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And if you want to join the Brightside Ben team, we'd love to have you on the team. Just click on the Join the Team link on the websites or call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470, and tell them you want to join the team for a one-time $25 fee. You can start yourself a longevity business and make money and earn thank you checks, as my friend Rock and Ron calls them, thank you checks. People will be thanking you for turning them on to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, to the Ultimate Enzymes, to the Fucoid Z, and of course to the Ultimate EFAs. 866-735-2470 is their number. Okay, so if you're thinking about supplementing and you want to start a supplement program, definitely start off with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. If you don't want to do the whole Healthy Start Pack, definitely start off with the BTT. But after the BTT, it's the Ultimate EFAs. Those are probably It's hard to say, but a good case could be made that those are the two most important things to start off with. Start your nutritional supplement program off with if you want to just dip your toe in the water. That's because of the incredible multifunctionality of both of those products. The BTT contains all your water-soluble nutrients, and the EFAs, of course, are your major fat-soluble essential nutrients. Between the BTT and the EFAs, you're going to meet much of your, not all, but much of your nutritional needs, your essential nutrient needs. You can tell you got an EFA problem if you're dealing with several health issues. Now, these aren't the only things, but there's a few ways that you can tell you got a deficiency either in absorption or intake, taking them in supplemental fashion, or you're not absorbing them. If you have dry skin, for the life of me, I can't figure out why hasn't dawned on us that our crisis of dry skin is not a skincare product problem. We got so many skincare products out there, moisturizing skincare products, so-called moisturizing skincare products that are really nothing but water and wax and oil and filler. And I'm telling you this as somebody who's been formulating those exact kinds of products for 32 years. You wouldn't believe how ridiculously easy and simple and useless a moisturizing product is from a formulating perspective. You take some water, you take some wax, you take some oil, and you mix it all up with what's called an emulsifying agent, and voila, you got yourself a moisturizer. It costs about a penny for a pound or more of it if you buy it in bulk. Throw in some preservative, throw in some fragrance, slap a label on it, and you got yourself a moisturizing cream. There's nothing about it that's moisturizing. But the reason we use these products is because we're so desperate because our skin is so dry. En masse, as a culture. It's not just us, it's the whole world. Our skins are dry largely because of problems with fats, especially EFAs. Again, intake or absorption. If you have dry skin, you can pretty much rest assured you're dealing with an EFA deficiency, at least partially an EFA deficiency. If you crave fatty foods, if you have menstrual cramps or PMS issues, if you're a woman, thinning skin is another possible sign of EFA deficiency. Thinning blood vessels is another sign of EFA deficiency. Thinning bones is another sign of potential EFA deficiency. Why are all these thinning problems, thinning issues associated with EFA deficiency? Because EFAs turn on the production of proteins. They're like igniters. At the genetic level, they are the classic epigenetic factor. Epigenetics is the science of all of the things that turn on the genetics. This is the problem with the genetic theory. That's why Doc Wallach has been saying for years that it's baloney. And anybody who really understands how genetics works knows that our mythology, our understandings about genetics as a culture are mythological. Genes turn on and off, and they turn on and off based on the environment. This is so important. Read Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief, classic book. Probably many of you have heard of this. Genes turn on and off based on the environment, and the environment is partially determined by these vitamins and nutrients and essential factors. They're called epigenetic factors. And the genes are reading these epigenetic factors to determine what should be turned on and off, or what should happen, basically. So genetics is obviously the fundamental aspect of how we're made up, but genetics are turned on and off by the environment the genetics, i.e. the cell, is sitting in, and that includes essential fatty acids. Essential fatty acids turn on like a switch, turn on like ignite, like a match, whatever metaphor you want to use. They turn on the production of protein. That means without them, your skin is going to be thin. Without them, your bones are going to be thin. Without them, your blood vessels are going to be thin. Thinning is associated with EFA deficiency. Get on your EFAs and your fatty vitamins as well. Make sure you're absorbing them if you notice that your skin is thinning as you get older. I can always tell by looking at someone if they're having an EFA problem, either intake or absorption, by looking at their skin. You can too. If it's crepey, and probably women know what I'm talking about. As we get older, our skin turns crepey and thin, and there ain't no moisturizer on the planet that's going to change that, by the way. If you want a topical ingredient, think vitamin C and vitamin A. That's basically why I created The Truth, was to allow women especially, but all of us really, to have access to the two major topical nutrients for thickening the skin, for making the skin, as I like to say, beefy, bouncy, for giving it texture, Essential fatty acids are key players in skin health and blood vessel health and bone health and all connective tissue health. If you're trying to get pregnant, essential fatty acids are unbelievably helpful. In fact, I would venture to say EFA deficiency may be at least partially related to our epidemic of infertility. That's because of the relationship between cells. Cells have to communicate to each other, especially in pregnancy, especially in fertilization. Think about what pregnancy really is. Pregnancy is really one cell or two cells combining, forming one cell, and then that cell divides. And as that cell divides, it creates more and more and more cells. Eventually you've got hundreds and then thousands and then billions and then trillions of cells, and all those cells have to talk to each other. They have to communicate to each other. And communication between cells, whether it's when the baby is being built or whether it's when a sperm meets an egg in what we call conception or fertilization, that is a communication kind of issue. It's a relationship issue. The two cells, the mother's egg cell and the father's sperm cell, are communicating to each other. And when the baby's growing and developing, all the cells are communicating to each other. And here is the take-home message. Cells communicate membrane to membrane. Cells communicate membrane to membrane. It's how they talk to each other via membrane to membrane interactions. So anytime you want to build something in the body, whether it's a baby or whether it's tissue in an organ, the membranes of the cells are going to play a key role. And guess what? The membrane is largely made up of essential fatty acids. So if you're trying to get pregnant, EFAs can play a major role in helping in improving the odds of fertilization. Pregnancy is about the relationship between cells. You got sperm and egg cell. Those got to interact with each other. Fertilization. And then you have the building of a baby, which is also a cell-to-cell phenomena. By the way, egg cells are really interesting. You know, a woman is born with all of her egg cells, and over the course of time, as they drop out, you get less and less egg cells. That's kind of an interesting phenomena. It has a lot to do with all of our mating rituals we have in this culture. We don't get that many egg cells. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back. We are back on the bright side. Thank you for listening, friends. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com, where you'll find all the Youngevity products and a Join the Team link that you can click on if you want to join the Brightside Ben team and start a Youngevity business. Love to have you aboard for a one-time $25 fee. You can be part of the team. Help spread the word about the importance of a good nutritional supplement program. Change lives, really. A lot of folks haven't heard. The ideas we take for granted. If you're listening to this program, trust me, if you listen to this program, you are taking for granted a lot of information that we assume that everybody knows, but they don't necessarily know. And you can help spread the word. You can help share what you take for granted in terms of essential fatty acids, in terms of having your gallbladder not removed or having your gallbladder removed, taking a statin drug. These are all ideas that we talk about here on the Bright Side and that you guys have heard probably a million times, but the vast majority of people have not heard this. I just got back from New York City. There's so many things that people in New York don't know because that's the belly of the beast, as it were, of the pharmaco-medical model. And they are still entrenched in the standard dogma of modern medicine about lowering your cholesterol and taking statin drugs and having organs removed, et cetera, et cetera. It's not even just that, because that happens everywhere, but they really trust the doctor. They really believe in their doctors. And that's what most of the world, most of the planet, most of this country is really like. And this is one of the things that we're dedicated to, those of us in Youngevity, is helping spread the word about the new ideas, which aren't really new ideas, but new to the culture, about using nutritional supplements, about using at-home strategies like deep breathing and hot water and eating less food and intermittent fasting, etc. I'm sure you guys heard this article or read this article that came out yesterday. Sausages, ham cause cancer. Red meat probably too. Meat causes cancer. Everybody's been talking about, at least in the world of health. Listen, meat doesn't cause cancer. Nothing causes cancer. Cancer is a cancer cell that is stressed out beyond its limits. It doesn't know what else to do. Nothing causes cancer, unless maybe radiation. That's about the only thing that literally causes cancer. So this nonsense about meat causing cancer is based on a United Nations finding. It was based on a review of 800 studies that, quote, found sufficient evidence in humans that consumption of processed meat causes colorectal cancer. Now, what does that really mean? It means they analyzed a bunch of studies, and they found that it turns out that if people said they ate a lot of meat, they had a tendency to get cancer. But not everybody did. There were certainly people there who ate hot dogs and sausages who didn't get cancer. So if these things cause cancer, how come some people don't get cancer when they eat them, when they interact with them? Well, clearly there's something else going on. Obviously, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that if some people eat sausage and hot dogs and corned beef and beef jerky and they don't get cancer, well, obviously there must be some other factors involved, and there is. Nothing causes cancer by itself. It has to happen in an environment of stress, an environment of burden. And that's where the problem comes from. Most of us have an environment inside our bodies that are maxed out in terms of toxicity and in terms of ability to handle that toxicity. And then you throw in sausage, and that's where you run into a problem. But it's not the sausage that causes the cancer. And I read scientific articles where they say this causes cancer. Nothing causes cancer except, as I say, maybe if you irradiate a cell, that itself isn't causing the cancer, that's creating a stress on the cell. A cancer cell is a stressed out cell. That's all you need to know about cancer. Now, how you take care of it involves de-stressing the cell with nutrition, with oxygen, and with detoxification. Anyway, I didn't want to digress there, but that just caught my attention from yesterday. As far as eggs go, which we were talking about before we went to break, eggs, a woman has all her eggs when she's born, and there's a scarcity around eggs, and this accounts for a lot of our dating rituals and mating rituals that we have in this culture. There's a scarcity in eggs. There's lots of sperm around, but there ain't a lot of eggs. And throughout history, eggs have been really valued, and the carriers of eggs as well, for better or worse, as women will tell you. The fact that your egg is a cell, it's actually an egg cell, is very, very interesting when it comes to nutrition. And I'll tell you what I mean by that tomorrow as we continue talking about hormone health and nutritional strategies for dealing, nutritional supplemental strategies for dealing with hormones and improving hormone health. All right, time to hit the phones. 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Nancy in Tennessee. What's going on, Nancy? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Ben.
Hey.
It's been a while since I talked to you about my grandson, Ben.
How's he doing?
And his little boils and cysts on his face.
Right.
He's done well. He's 2.5 now. And
well, hang on. No, I want to talk to you about that. So he had boils and cysts on his face, and you say he's doing well. That means he has less boils and cysts, no boils and cysts, improvement in the...
He still has one that will not go away.
Okay, but you notice that there's going away. There's less than there were before we started the program.
Well, there have been.
Okay, so you noticed an improvement. He's trending in the right direction.
Correct.
Okay, what did you do? Tell me what you did.
Okay, she did the elimination diet.
Okay,
She kept a food diary. And
what did she find out?
Definitely dairy.
What did she find out about dairy? Well, let me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but just
Sure.
I want everybody to hear this, because Nancy, again, you're gonna. We take for granted that these things work, but listen, Nancy, is there any medicine that could have done that? Is there any doctor strategy that could have done what you accomplished by yourself with these ideas? That's so huge.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to really savor this case study. Basically, is what happened with Nancy. Nancy called a couple of months ago. Her grandson had boils and cysts on the face. Boils and cysts are always a response, an immune response. Something is getting into the body. That means food. So Nancy did the elimination diet, and now, voila, 2 months later, only one cyst is left, trending upwards. There's no medicine on planet Earth that could have done it, no dermatologist that could have done it, no insurance program, no nothing, and Nancy did it herself. That's huge, Nancy. Now, there's one left, so we're going to work on that. So anyway.
It's bigger. It's actually not, okay, it's flat under his skin. You feel it. It's very soft. It's about the size of a dime.
It's underneath the skin. It's not raised, in other words?
It is. Well, it's under the skin. You can feel it under the skin. It's not hard. It's very soft and mushy. And it sort of looks like a bruise on the outside of his skin.
Okay.
And the doctors are calling it a cyst now.
Okay. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. The system is not growing correctly, period. That's all you need to know, whether it's a boil, whether it's a cyst. Skin cells are not growing correctly, and there's inflammation in there probably from a toxic lymphatic system. That's a circulatory system for poison, if you will. That's very simplistic. But in terms of boils and cysts, the lymph is delivering poisons, and when poisons are clogging that up, it's not moving correctly, they'll pool in the skin, and that's what that's where you're going to get the boils and cysts. At least that's partially the cause of it. So it's a poison issue. It's a clogging issue. Now, if you already noticed some foods that are causing problems, there may be other ones that you haven't noticed, and it's only been a couple of months and you're trending in the right direction, so it may be that that will go away as well. Continue with looking vigilantly for foods. Obviously, the ones you found you want to eliminate. You don't want them eating, but continue looking for others. Then do other things for the digestive system. Is he on probiotics, a good probiotic supplement? Nance?
Yes, he's on a probiotic.
Okay,
Hello.
hang on. We got to take a break. Don't go away, Nancy. We'll finish up when we come back. If you're on hold, we'll get to you as well. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We'll be back after this. All right, we're back on The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Nancy in Tennessee about boils and cysts. And by the way, when we came back from our last break, we were talking about meat. I didn't mean to say meat is necessarily quality food, processed meat, because it's not quality food. It's a big problem food. But the idea that it causes cancer is not really an accurate statement, and it's very misleading. What causes cancer is an unhealthy body. What causes cancer is a stressed out cell that doesn't know what else to do. And cancer is not an invasion. I heard Joe Biden talking about cancer earlier. He said, I know we can beat cancer. I know we can cure cancer. There's this idea that you can inject or drug or vaccinate yourself free of cancer. Cancer is just a response. It's the way the body handles and the cells handle being burnt out, being stressed out, not having enough nutrition, being toxic. And sugar counts as a toxin, by the way, and not having enough oxygen. All right, Nancy, boils and cysts are underneath the skin. They start off underneath. A boil is apparent on the top, and a cyst may be apparent on the top, but they start off underneath. By the time it's on the top, it's over. Nobody can handle a boil or cyst on the top unless they inject it with something, and just to help the body fight it. But the problem is underneath. Make sense, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay, so you look at the skin, and it's hard to tell from looking, but underneath is this dynamic, vast network of circulation, of lymph and of blood and of nerves, and lots happening under there. When that gets clogged up, a boil shows up, and it gets clogged up when we're toxic. It's really as simple as that. Nothing clogs it up. Nothing is going to cause the circulatory system to clog up unless it's toxicity. So you're dealing with a toxicity issue, and that means the digestive system. It's as simple as that. Now, it may mean two things. You already did the elimination. I would continue with that. But it may be that his gut is not strong, and that always points to the bacteria. You said he's on a probiotic supplement, but that doesn't always do it. What is he using?
We have a Mercola powder probiotic.
How many bacteria in it, and how much?
It has 60 billion.
60 billion units per dose?
Per packet,
And then different bacteria?
He's only about 35 pounds, so he gets...
Okay, that's good. That's good. But how many different types of bacteria? Hang on a minute. 10 types? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so and Mercola, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Mercola, but he seems pretty reputable, so you shouldn't have a problem there. Here's the thing with probiotics. Different brand, the body responds to different brands differently. So you may want to play around with that. Also make sure he's eating fermented food. If he has any problems with specific types of foods, using digestive enzymes for fats, for example, can help. Grinding up his foods might help as well. Helping him process foods is where I would go. It does sound like a digestive problem, especially if he has a history that way. So using the probiotics, using the Healthy Start Pack, making sure that you're making it easy for him to process his foods by using soups and smoothies and juices, vegetable juices. In addition to the ultimate enzymes, which you might want to take with meals, using raw foods can get him enzymes as well. Raw veggies can get him enzymes. If he has a problem eating those, use lots of salt and spices and oil or butter, coconut oil or butter. That makes the veggies more palatable, sometimes braising them very, very slightly, but you want to be careful because that'll kill the enzymes. You may also want to experiment with bile salts, B-I-L-E, bile salts, extra. They're in the ultimate enzymes, but extra. And also maybe some lecithin granules. Sprinkle those on certain foods, especially fatty foods, and that might help him. Or you give him some lecithin granules in water after meals. That might help him absorb as well. Look at the digestive system, Nancy.
Another thing. Okay, his mom is, she gets worried when he has an active breakout, which he does right now on his elbow.
Yeah.
And so she took him to the pediatrician, who prescribed antibiotic. He said it is a staph infection that's in his body, and he's had it for
You were just
so
trying to make
long.
me mad? You're just trying to get me angry here?
I know.
What's the point here?
And he needs to have this antibiotic to get this.
What are you telling me?
Really go for his system. He's on the antibiotic. He had two more come up since he's been on the antibiotic. And
what are you trying to do? Raise my blood pressure here, Nancy?
It's not me, believe me.
No, I mean, I don't care.
Hard.
This is stupidity, but hang on, Nancy. This is stupidity at the highest degree, and I don't know what else I can say about it. He's already got a digestive problem. Now you're killing off his bacteria even worse, and he gets more problems. So where does the pediatrician, like a wizard? Where do we get the idea that the pediatrician knows anything? Where does this come from? Because they told us? Oh, we know stuff. So obviously he doesn't. I don't know what else to tell you. If he's on antibiotics, he needs probiotics even more. So when he's done with his antibiotics...
Double dose it?
Double dose, absolutely.
Double dose it.
And also fermented foods, but not with the antibiotics, because the antibiotics will kill the probiotics. Sure. So you got to give it a break.
Yes.
Okay?
And I know that can become resistant. The staph is resistant
Of course
bacteria.
It can become resistant.
Yeah, I know.
It's craziness. It's craziness, Nancy.
I know.
I'm telling you. Okay.
And she gets scared, and they play on your fear.
Fear is never your friend under any circumstances. False evidence appearing real. Take action. You don't have to be scared. When you take action, you eliminate fear. All right, I got to go, Nance. Thanks for your call.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Okay, Caroline in Washington, what is up?
Hi. I wanted to talk about iodine, but I wanted clarification on why you thought gluten was the problem with grains when I've been reading so much about glyphosate.
They're all problems. They're all problems. I don't know what you're asking me. What do you mean? Tell me what your question is. Because gluten is a problem. They're both problems.
Well, I don't think you mentioned it, did you?
I didn't mention glyphosate, no. Glyphosate is a nasty, nasty, nasty fertilizer substance. And it is true. It's on all crops, not just grains. Look, what are you going to do, Caroline? We have really mucked up our system. And just because it's organic doesn't mean there's no glyphosate there either, because it's in the water supply. And it's in the ground, for that matter. So it's everywhere. We're the dumbest species on planet Earth. Look at what we do. We crap in our water and then drink it. So
it's called population control. But anyway,
yes.
I had been taking thyroid over the years. It's a nature thyroid from a naturopath.
Okay, is it glandular?
It has never helped me over the years.
Well, let me tell you about that. You want to talk about that real quick? About thyroid? Or you have a question?
Well, I quit taking it.
Okay, well, you're smart. Here's the thing about thyroid, and even naturopaths fall for this baloney. If you have a thyroid problem and you take a glandular, what you'll be doing is you'll be replacing the hormones, but you're not going to be fixing your thyroid. Do you see what I'm saying? The logic is, the thyroid's not working, so we'll give hormones to imitate it. Well, that doesn't help. Your thyroid is still sick. You see what I'm saying? We're not helping the thyroid, we're just imitating the hormones.
Well, I agree. It didn't help a bit.
It doesn't help. It doesn't even make sense, though, is my point. Of course it doesn't help. You're experiencing the utter impotency of these ideas as a patient. But then I want us to take a step back and say, why would we even think it would work? Synthroid, which is one of the best-selling, maybe periodically it's the best-selling drug in America, not just Synthroid, but thyroid medication in general. So obviously we got a problem. And pharmacists will all tell you that it is notoriously ineffective. The dose has to change. They probably change. If you're on, it doesn't sound like you're on Synthroid, but when people are on these kinds of drugs, they have to keep manipulating the dose because you're not doing anything for the thyroid. You're just trying to imitate the hormones. What you want to do if you have a thyroid problem, hypothyroidism, is you want to do two things. Number one is you need to calm the body down. The thyroid goes hypo, or low, performing when the adrenals are hyped up. The second thing is you got to work on food because a lot of hypothyroidism is autoimmune. So between food and relaxing your body, Caroline, you have your major strategies for dealing with thyroid issue. Okay. So if you have you're hypothyroid, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So chances are good that you're dealing with Hashimoto's. Did they mention that to you?
They thought it wasn't bad enough to call it that.
Well, okay, whatever. It's an autoimmune issue. Whatever, bad enough or good enough, it's still an autoimmune issue. Autoimmune, whenever you hear the word immune in a disease, and autoimmune obviously counts, you're looking at a digestive problem. I'm not just saying that because I'm a food Nazi or I'm some kind of health nut. I'm saying it just because it's chemistry. Immune system is located in the digestive tract. So if you have an immune problem, by definition, you have a digestive problem. Does that make sense, Caroline?
Right.
So focus on foods, elimination diet, all the things we just talked about, elimination diet, probiotics, digestive enzymes. I know I repeat myself, but these are all fundamental ideas for everything. And then the second thing you want to do, Caroline, is calm the body down. Hypothyroidism typically will follow too much adrenalism. That's your stress gland. So calming the body down. This is why women, by the way, after menopause are at high risk for hypothyroidism, because their adrenals are frying. Why? Because they're off making, they don't have enough cholesterol, and the adrenals are trying to handle the entire system, the stress of menopause, and now the thyroid starts to slow down when the adrenals are freaking out. So work on the adrenal. Iodine?
I bought some nascent iodine, and I've been taking 3 drops a day, hoping that'd help that and my dry mouth at night.
Well, that's cute, but that's not the answer. You need iodine.
Really?
I'm not saying, you need iodine. I'm not marginalizing or dismissing the importance of iodine. It's vitally important, but it's not a magic remedy for the thyroid. You got to work on the immune system, which is the digestive system, and you got to calm the body down. Caroline, call me tomorrow. We'll finish up if you like. I got to go. That's the end of the program. Thanks for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back at you tomorrow on the bright side. Take care. Have a wonderful, awesome, spectacular day. Bye for now.